Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about OhioLink, a partnership between Tiffin University libraries and other academic libraries throughout the state of Ohio. It's something that I'm sure you've heard about in your tours, but maybe don't know a whole lot about. So this tutorial video is going to give you a much better idea of what OhioLink is and how to navigate it. There's a fair bit to cover today, so let's dive right in. Okay, so what do you do when you're working on a research project and either your professor has asked that you use physical books or you're looking for sort of large sources on your topic? You don't want to read a lot of journal articles, you just want one compact source that's going to tell you a lot about that resource. Well, if we come over here to our Books tab, I have a couple different options, right? We can do a Dragon Quest search, but that's not going to get us the sort of materials that I'm looking for when I'm looking for physical books. Not as well. It's going to have a bunch of other stuff in there too. So if I'm looking just for books, the better way to go is either to come here to the Pfeiffer Library catalog or to the OhioLink catalog. So let's start with the OhioLink catalog because that's going to include Pfeiffer Library's materials as well, because Pfeiffer Library is an OhioLink school. So here at the OhioLink catalog, I have to decide how I want to do my search. If I'm just looking for books that are about a certain thing, I have my keyword search, and that's a good place to start. If I know specifically that I'm looking for books about global warming, for instance, and I know the subject term is going to be in there, I can also use a subject term instead. We can look by title if I'm looking for a specific book, or we can look for author if I know that I'm looking for books that are by a certain person, but I don't necessarily know what it's called. Maybe I'm doing research on a specific scholar, and I want to see what else they've written. My other option, and one of the most powerful options here in the classic search, is to go over to the Other Numbers field and search by ISBN. If I'm specifically looking for a specific edition of a book, if I know exactly which book I'm looking for, and I know the ISBN number for that book, this is the best way to find it. That's going to narrow things down so that I only find the exact search result that I'm looking for. For now though, let's say I'm not looking for a specific book. Instead, I'm doing a research project on the Crusades. Why not? So let's do a keyword search just for the Crusades. I will also notice that I have the advanced search option down here if I want to include more pieces. If I know maybe the general topic, but also the author, maybe an author who's written a couple different books on a couple different things, but I only want to look at the books by that author on a specific topic, I can combine things that way. But if I just do a keyword search, just a basic keyword search for now, we'll see that these are automatically sorted by how likely they are to be connected to my search topic, right? And then within that, they're going to be sorted by publication year. So the newest things that OhioLink search thinks are most connected to my topic are going to be listed first. Those are the most relevant titles entries. There are 455 out of 3,358 search results that OhioLink's search parameters, search algorithms think are probably the sort of things that I want. You'll notice too that the first book that's listed is an ebook. It's one that I can connect to online using my Pfeiffer Library credentials because Pfeiffer Library is part of OhioLink. So I'll choose Tiffin University, I'll choose main campus, it's my only option for that second drop-down box. I'll press on submit here, and then I'm going to be asked for my name and also my barcode number. For me, those were auto-populated because I've done this before, but for you, you'll want to look up your barcode number. That's going to be your student ID number followed by the letters TUP, capital T, capital U, capital P, for Tiffin University patron, with no spaces in between, just that student ID number followed by TUP. And I'll see that this takes me directly to the resource. I can then click on this and read it. I can read a little bit more about it. I can read the description here, the back cover of the book to tell me what this is about, and determine from there whether this is something that I want to use. navigating back to my search results, I can also, instead of connecting directly to a book, I can click on the title and get a little more information about it first. You'll see that I can click on the author if I decide that this author has written something interesting that I'd like to see more of their work, and then do a search by author to see what else is available in OhioLink by that author. If it were a physical book, this would list where the book was at, and the status would list whether or not it was available to be checked out. We'll look at another record in a minute that will have those features. Scrolling down a little bit further, we have a couple things to point out. There is a bookmark for this record, a permalink. If I want to find this thing again, let's say that I'm working on a project on a public computer where I can't save things or I don't have printer access, but I want to be able to get back to this resource. This is the HTML, the link that you're going to want to save, rather than this one up here. The one in the address bar across the top is specific to this search and won't work a second time. This permalink will work always. Now, the other things that we want to talk about here, we have the description of the resource. This is an online resource. This tells me what type of thing I'm working with. And we can see the table of contents here. It's going to give me a quick idea of whether this is a book that is about the type of subjects, about the type of things that are going to be useful to my research. We also have subject tags. This is in Library of Congress heading style, so these are formatted a little more narrowly than the sorts of subjects we might come up with on our own. This is really useful if I decide that one of these subjects is something that I want to explore more. Knowing how it's formatted, I can just click on this and do a subject search for that. We have that same summary that I described, describing what the book is about, the back cover of the book. And then we also have some other data down here. If I wanted to look at, for instance, this is the electronic book format. If I wanted to look for the ISBN number down here, this is probably for a physical book. It doesn't say electronic book beside it. So if I decide I want a physical copy and don't want the electronic copy, I could do a search by that ISBN number. Okay, and then coming back to our search results again, let's click on one that's actually a book. This one is by Jonathan Riley Smith. He's a famous historian who works in the Crusades, and this is exactly what I wanted to point out in terms of where an item is. You're going to see that there are 3 copies of this book in OhioLink. Only one of those is available to me if I wanted to request it. There is a copy at Cuyahoga Community College that is available. I can request that book. There's a copy at John Carroll University that's only available for local use. These are things like course reserves, the type of books that you can only use while you're at that library. So if this were the only copy in the state and I absolutely needed to use this book, I could consider going to John Carroll University, or I could consider placing an interlibrary loan request for a chapter from that book instead. I have options, but the fact that it's local use only means that requesting that book to be sent to my library to pick up is not one of those options. And then I can see that the University of Toledo also has a copy, but that's due on June 20th. So I could wait for it. If this was the only copy, I could put in a request once that was available and then get a copy. There's also a link here that would take me to a digital version if I wanted to. If I instead want this physical copy, I want to have something in hand to read, if I click on request, this green request button, that's going to bring me to this next page where I choose which university I'm making this request from. You'll select Tiffin University and then submit the above information. And then I'm going to be prompted for my name and my barcode number again. So again, the barcode is your student ID number followed by the letters TUP. I'll choose where I want to pick this up. So from Tiffin University at the library circulation desk. This is also where I would choose the pick up anywhere option if, for instance, I am a Tiffin University student, but I happen to be in Cincinnati visiting family for the weekend or for longer, for break, something like that. I could instead change this pickup university to any other college in the OhioLink network. So potentially one that's closer to me or closer to where I'm going to be for a family vacation, something like that. Once I press submit, that book will be on its way to me and typically arrives within about 2 to 4 days. One last thing. I noticed that when I was in the Crusades, A History, the record for the book that we just looked at, that there were 3 copies available in OhioLink, but there were none that were available at Pfeiffer Library. So if I were doing a search for books and decided to start with the Pfeiffer Library catalog to see what's available locally, I have this option to start with, the same sort of options that we just saw in OhioLink, right? There's a keyword search where I can search very broadly to see if I can find that particular book based on the title, based on the author, or if I can find books in general that are about the Crusades. I can instead do a title search because I know what this book is called and look for The Crusades, A History. Putting it in quotes like I've just done will guarantee that I find books that are called that exactly. Those words in that order with no extra words added or subtracted. Because Crusades and history are both very broad terms, I want to make sure that I do put this in quotes so that I get the exact set of search results that I'm expecting. Otherwise, I'm probably going to find various other history books or other books about the Crusades that might not be exactly what I'm looking for. And like I expected, I realized that there is not a copy of the book called The Crusades, A History available at Tiffin University. If there were, it would have shown up in my OhioLink search. If I click on this Search OhioLink button, that will automatically take me to an OhioLink search for this book, using the same title that I've just put in quotes in Pfeiffer Library's catalog, and taking me to The Crusades, A History, the book that we just looked at. I'm going to see again that there are 3 copies of this book available, that 1 is available, 1 is local use only, and 1 is due on June 20th of 2024, so soon, but not right now. You'll also notice that the look of this version of OhioLink is different. So if I search that classic catalog that we started with, that's going to give me a more robust set of search features, but it's going to look a little bit different from the links that you find and that you follow in the Pfeiffer Library catalog. Those are updated to be a little bit more visual and to be a little bit more streamlined in their formatting. You can access OhioLink in either way. I prefer to start with the classic catalog when I know a book's ISBN number and I'm looking for a specific book, and I prefer to start in the Pfeiffer Library catalog to look locally if I know just kind of in general what I want to learn about, but I don't necessarily know what specific book I'm interested in just yet. And that should just about do it for OhioLink. If you have any questions about accessing books or other resources through OhioLink, or any other research-related questions, feel free to reach out at library@tiffin.edu or to me directly at gilmerjm@tiffin.edu. Hopefully, you're now confident in your ability to access those resources through our consortial partners. If you ever are unsure or you run into any sort of issues, feel free to also stop by the circulation desk and one of the librarians can help you directly there. Good luck with your research, and we'll see you in the next one.